What's going on, people? Mythic Pluses, their routes. Let's talk about them. So there doesn't seem to be a lot of information out there in regards to Season 4 Awakened affects and pathing in Mythic Plus. And I wanted to make a guide doing a dungeon walkthrough pull by pull to maybe help people understand it better. We're going to start this series with Workshop, as it's a highly requested key this season, especially if you have a Fire Mage friend. They really want those bracers, and the ring combinations are good for just about every class. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Here we have Brewmaster Point of View Mechagon Workshop 14. Now a lot of people don't know, but you can actually pull these bots underneath the hammer, and the hammer does a tremendous amount of damage to them. It's a lot easier for some tanks than others. I mean, our DPS in this group was pretty high, so it didn't really matter. Just keep that in mind. Another thing a lot of people don't realize is starting behind the tank right here makes it so that it crashes into the wall immediately, as opposed to shooting across the room and not allowing your DPS to do its full potential. Now I always start with bringing the bot underneath the hammer immediately. You could play this by ear, but I feel like, especially on a non-tyrannical week, it doesn't really matter. Plus it lets your cleave DPS do more cleave DPS. There's the third one. And again, our DPS in this group was pretty high. So normally I would drag him on top of the tank and then we'd cleave him down. Don't be like me and stand inside the blade storm or the saws running around on the ground. Now when he's about to die, I like to bring him on top of the thing. It's just less travel time, cutting down seconds wherever you can. So the first part of the dungeon, as you can see, not very hard. Now this part, especially on this week, it's not too terrible. I like to pull both of these waste processing units together. Just make sure you don't aim them at your group. It's kind of your responsibility, although it's hard, as you can see, the camera angles, and if you have range and melee, you can lose track of them very easily. But don't stand in their mega drills and don't face their waste cone at your raid. I like to go right into the pylon, and you drag this pylon straight to the boss. Make sure you get aggro on these guys. Their little bite does stack and do a lot of damage. You don't want to kill your melee. Now I drag this guy all the way to the boss's room and drop his portal there, just so we can skip the trash right away. But you want to take into consideration your party's cooldown. So right now my mage has already uses combustion. So normally I would pull the boss right now so that it frees up this res area, but nobody has cooldowns. I'm just gonna go ahead and keep pulling trash. Now with these living wastes, one's not gonna kill you, but when you see further pulls and bigger pulls, it gets a little bit more crazy. Again, kite when you need to kite. Help your healer out. I think right now he's worried about doing DPS right now, so it's a little wonky. Again, still no combustion, still no cooldowns. I'm gonna go ahead and do another pull. So this is a bigger group. You want to definitely LOS, or you die like that. So as long as you have a spot where you can LOS, I should have Transcendence there, but I forgot to put it down. You can do as big as pull or as little a pull as you want. Now we had cooldowns, and I'm pretty sure we didn't need these guys for percent, but it's super simple percent, and I felt I could, we could blow them up before it was even an issue, as long as everybody can get around the pipe to LOS. Perfect. And now we're going into the boss with full CDs. Now for this boss, there's a lot of little tiny things you can do to alleviate, the pressure on your group, such as tanking the boss near the box. Don't be right on top of it, obviously, but if you tank it near it, it's less travel time. Your DPS can stay out a lot longer. Now we get quaking here, just form up a line behind the box and you'll still be safe. Don't stack on top of each other and kill each other. You can see another boss land in there. I pull away just a little bit. We move out for leap. Make sure you don't drag that leap through a box. It will blow up your box and then you will have a very sad day. There we go. Bring it back to the box. We hide. Now, if you are a caster with instant cast abilities, you can do what that mage was doing and hop in and out between flame casts to get your instant casts off. Now, if you have warlock, you can make a warlock gate to this side and skip this conveyor belt. If not, you just gotta putter along like I did. Now, this is one of the pulls that changes from week to week. This week, there's nothing crazy going on. So I just let the citizens go and we kill the alarm bot. Now on a sanguine week, you're gonna want to pull this group down the ramp so you're not to fill this room up with sanguine. But this week, it's just teaming, waking, nothing to worry about. So now this second phase of this gauntlet, you're gonna get 3 of these defense bots and they do an AoE short out plus a bunch of arcing bolts. So some weeks you'll see groups hero on this pole to alleviate some of the damage going out. The DH uses darkness here, and we're able to just stay in and it's fine without hero. Now this bot guy, a lot of people don't realize his second mechanic. His first mechanic is going to be the sonic pulse. Just don't stand in front of it. Now his second ability, he creates this pie in the room and there's one safe spot. There it is. If you move your camera directly up and down, it makes it a lot easier to see. Don't stand in the blue, you'll be fine. So now this pillar does change. Sometimes it's the spider guy, sometimes it's this guy. It's the same thing regardless. You get aggro on him, you tag him, and you drag him all the way through this gauntlet. You can drag him fast, you can drag him slow. I like to do slow so that I can time my chi torpedo to dodge some spirit breakers and allows my DPS to get him down a lot sooner, so I'm not eating spirit breakers to the face. Here's another one. I have to eat that one. You kill him right on top of this grate, allowing you to skip the entire gauntlet area. Now this pole, it pays to be a monk with Ring of Peace here, because the shields that they put up actually reduce a lot of damage your group takes, so I always Ring of Peace them out, get them all grouped up, and then you get the entire group to stand in the shield to alleviate a lot of the damage, especially from short out from this defense bot. It's a little crazy with quaking and the squirrels. You want to make sure you drag the mobs out of the shield and you stand in the shield. Watch your cleave. You can kill the generators. You don't want to kill the generators. You want to use them. They are your friends. Now my mage used combustion on that pole, so we didn't go right into the boss. We decided to do the lieutenant first. I immediately pull him down just so he doesn't drop his pool on top of everybody trying to kill the eyes. This is one of the bosses where you could pull him with the final boss if you don't feel your group is strong enough to do that. It's safe to just kill him here. You have plenty of room to kite him around. You don't need to drag him anywhere special. You're not using his portal as a skip. Keep in mind, if you do kill him down here, as soon as you leave, you will enter combat with the boss. Just make sure your healer has mana and your group is ready. Avoid his AoE mechanics, avoid his saw blades. And if you're the tank, drag him on top of these plants so that your cleave DPS can cleave and they die. Especially on a tyrannical week, they will kill you. Now this next pull only changes its teaming, but there will be 3 spiders instead of 2. Just make sure your group's ready to handle it. Again, avoid their sonic pulse. Don't be in front of them when they shoot it. And dodge the rockets as they land on the ground. Now, I decided to pull the second one once the first one dies. I don't recommend pulling all 3 of them unless you're a beefy tank and a really strong group. I mean, we had plenty of time left. I decided to play it safe. Better safe than sorry. Now you have to pull these Tinkerers and the Defenders. That will always be the pull here. Again, try to do what you can to get them out of the shield generator, and you stand in the shield generators. And since it is teaming, we do need 1 defense bot. Now the best thing about Awakening is you always get to use this pylon to skip this gauntlet. Always go ahead and gather up the armies. Now with the spider boss, if you're out of range, if everybody's out of range, she won't cast on you and she'll move a lot faster. This is the hardest boss to kite to use its portal if you don't have a bunch of melee kicks. I just make sure I get aggro on it, make sure somebody's interrupting as much as they can. Try not to overlap. The little army guys don't really matter too much. I like to stun them and ring a piece them as we run past them because sometimes they'll explode themselves and you won't even have to deal with them. Once they turn into this giant green beetle, they are not CCable anymore, and you just have to kill them. And again, you use this lieutenant, drag her all the way up to the boss, and use her portal to skip that last gauntlet. And this guy is pretty self-explanatory if you've ever done him on normal mode, heroic mode, Mythic Plus mode, whatever. One thing you can do to help is in the second phase, if you have a lot of melee, we have 3, is find a spot and call it out. I believe here I go to the right, the DH goes to the middle, and the DK goes to the left. That way we never stack Gigazap on top of each other. Fairly easy 2 chests. That's it for this video, guys. If you like this type of content and you think it's gonna help, feel free to hit that subscribe button and leave comments down below so that I know what you guys like and what you dislike and what you want to see more of. Thanks again, I appreciate you all, and remember, stay frosty.